What's up, fam, and welcome to this episode of Rex's Photo Booth Reviews and Tutorials. Today, we're going to be talking about deposits. 1. Should you take a deposit? 2. If you do take a deposit, how much of a deposit? And 3. Should you use the term deposit or retainer? But before we get into today's episode, here is a disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only and should not be a substitute for legal counsel in your jurisdiction. Now, with that said, I want to make a difference in your business. If you're enjoying the content, help the channel, hit the subscribe button, and tag a friend. The question I get all the time is, should you take a deposit? And the answer is absolutely yes, and I'll tell you why. It's more professional, and it gives a client confidence knowing that you're going to show up to their event. There are always exceptions to the rule. There are schools, there are major sports teams, there are government entities. They sometimes pay on a 15 or 30-day schedule, never have to worry about them. I also have planners that I work with all the time who pay the week after or the following Monday. You choose who you want to give credit to. But just know this, our industry is very small, and if you don't pay out a vendor, you sometimes can get blackballed. Not only should you do a deposit, but you should always do a contract as well, especially if it's with someone you worked with before. I always do a quick email with planners that I worked before. We'll go ahead and confirm the date, the time, and the location. This way, if something goes wrong, we can always refer to that email and keep the relationship intact. With a client that you've never worked with before, make sure that you are going to do a fully executable contract with a signature, whether it's wet or digital. Both of them are legally binding. This is not only good business practice, but it'll save you headaches in the long run. Make sure you put everything in writing, state what it is that you're going to do, take a deposit, and you won't regret it. So this is the next question I get. How much of a deposit should I take? Well, here's my blanket statement. There's no right or wrong answer, just what works for your business. There are some companies that take 10%, others that take 20%. Heck, there are even some that take 50% as a deposit. But regardless of what you take, keep in mind, if the event doesn't happen, you're going to have to refund it. In a court of law, even if you have non-refundable in your contract, it has to be justified. You can't tell the bride, hey, you're a bridezilla, I don't want to work with you, I'm not going to show up, and no refunds. This is where I get asked, is the term deposit better or retainer better? And the answer is very simple. Neither term has more bearing than the other. It's actually more complicated than that, and I'll explain. Both the words deposit and retainer are terms of art and are related to other industries. A security deposit is what one uses as collateral for a rental. You would make a lease, rent out an apartment for 1 year, and after the 1 year, you would get back your security deposit. With the word retainer, it pertains to law. You may have a court case, need to retain a lawyer for 6 hours, but it actually gets resolved in 3. In that situation, the lawyer would have to give back the difference. What I like is down payment. You make a down payment on a house, you make a down payment on a car, and when you're done with the payments, it's yours to keep. Either way, deposit or retainer, it doesn't guarantee anything. What does matter, or what does hold up, are the terms of your agreement or liquidated damages. That's why it's so important to have a contract. Some acceptable examples of keeping the deposit would be if you had to build a custom set or order a custom backdrop with your name or your logo. Another one would be if you had to order a specific size paper that only your event would use, then it's not acceptable to give back the deposit. If the client wants their deposit back, it has to be justified. For example, hey, our venue burned down, or my partner passed away in a car accident. While it is very rare, it has happened. Or what if the couple breaks up? Do you have a clause for when that happens? Or this just recently happened, and I'm hoping that you guys have this in your contract. What if there's another pandemic? What would you do? You can't keep somebody's deposit just because the world shuts down. They want it to happen as much as you do. So save yourself some headache and spell it out. The words retainer and deposit don't protect you from anything. What's important is your terms of agreement, your liquidated damages. So make sure, as equally as important as your deposit, make sure that you have that contract intact. You guys know a Rex's photo booth review and tutorials is not a tutorial without a bonus hack. Regardless of how much you take for a deposit, of more importance is that you always collect full balance before your event. You don't want to chase people down for money. You don't want to be out money. You don't want to owe money. That's the worst case scenario. What I mean by that is you run a company with multiple booths, or you subcontract via white label. Let's say you book an event for $1,000. You take a $400 deposit. You pay your guys $600 to do the job, but you didn't collect before the event. And then when you get to the event, they said, oh, we'll give it to you after. You do the event, and the planner or the person who hired you is nowhere to be found. Now you're left chasing money. So you not only lost, you didn't collect $600, you had to pay out $600. You're in essence out $1,200. It's the worst case to be in. So in conclusion, guys, take a deposit, collect full balance, and go out there and perform a flawless service for your clients. So I don't have any more bonus hacks for you guys, but I do have a fun fact, and I learned this from a lawyer. She had mentioned between an engaged couple, if a man breaks off the engagement, the woman gets to keep the engagement ring. But if the woman breaks off the engagement, she has to give it back. Lastly, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. My next goal is 10,000 subscribers. Happy boothing, and until next time.